What is up, dudes? Welcome back to Fix It Retro. My name is Austin, and I'm damn glad you're here. So today we're going to be working on something that's really, really awesome, at least in my opinion. We're going to be working on my Super Nintendo. Yeah, so my Super Nintendo today. This is a one-chip model Super Nintendo, one chip 01 revision, but we're going to be changing out all the capacitors on this thing. So the reason we're going to do that is, well, because they're old. They're pretty darn old, actually. So I'm going to pop this thing apart. We're going to swap out all the capacitors on the main board, and who knows? Maybe I'll even get a little improvement on my picture when I'm playing Super Mario World. I don't know. We'll see. Let's find out. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is be taking this thing apart, and looks like my dog's hair is stuck to it, so let me just go ahead and pull that off. All right, so you are going to need a You are going to need a game bit to take out these screws on the back here. So they're exactly 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, well, 4 of them fell out. 4 of the 6. Okay. Just set that aside. All right, welcome to the inside of my Super Nintendo. Oh, there's a 5th one. 5th screw fell out. We've only got one more floating around in there somewhere. See if we can get them out. Nope. All right, that's not happening. All right, so if you've never taken apart a Super Nintendo before, this is it. It's really not a whole lot going on, especially when you're looking at a one-chip model. But if it's not a one-chip model, just to be clear, there's usually a little, not usually, there always is, a little sound module right here that you can actually detach and, I don't know, do whatever you want with. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is take the rest of this apart. So we'll go ahead and take this out. This little disc. Sorry, cartridge. This little cartridge ejector switch device, apparatus, whatever you want to call it. So we'll just pop that out, set it aside for now. All right, we have more screws to take out, but I need to change my drill bit. So as I'm doing that, just patiently wait, I suppose. Done. It's that easy. All right, here we go. Now let's take this out first. All right, now that we have those screws out, we're gonna go and slide the shielding off. Zing, there it is, that's off. Okay, let's go ahead and disconnect this power switch here. There we go, set that aside as well. All right, cool. So now we've got a couple more screws that we're gonna take out. We've got, oh, let me just bump my camera. We've got, go ahead and take these out. We'll also go ahead and take, once the board's out, we're also gonna remove these, but that's done actually from the bottom. So let's go ahead and take these out here. Oh, I'm sorry, there's actually a couple more back here as well that we're gonna, oh, well, hello there, friend. Our 6th screw finally fell out the bottom. Anyway, we've got, I think a total of 4 screws to take out now before we can actually remove the board. And these screws here are a little different. These screws are like longer, more silver screws. Just keep that in mind if you're following along and you're taking apart your own SNES. All right, we should be able to lift this guy out of here now. Come on, baby. Oh, shoot. Sorry about that. Forgot one screw. All right, we should be able to lift this baby out of here now. Did you have a... Oh, no. All right, disconnect the controller ports. Go ahead and set that aside. Okay. Let's dump out these other screws like this, like this. All right, guys, so the capacitors that we're going to be replacing are actually under this metal shroud here. So we are going to be taking this thing off. Where the screws for that are on the back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so they're all on the back there. Another thing, you've got to remove this screw right here from this guy. This one is just a little bit different from the other ones. Just keep that in mind whenever you're putting the thing back together. That guy has his own screw. All right, now we can remove that. All right, as you can see, guys, not much to it. There's really not a ton going on inside these one-chip SNESs. SNESs. Anyway, all right, so a couple things here. We've got these guys right here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these, 6, and then another surface mount capacitor right over here. I actually do have a replacement fuse. However, my SNES is working fine, so we're not going to switch that out just because there's no need to. I also have another one of these, which we are also not going to switch out because this one seems to be working just fine. So we're actually going to leave that guy in there. We can test it. No, we're not going to test it. It's working fine. But just so we know, I do have more of those if we need to. And what I'm going to be replacing these guys with is this right here. So this is a, as you see, Super NES. This is a non-SHVC board. So my board is a one chip, which you see here. And you see right here. It is a one chip board. One chip boards are not SHVC boards. The SHVC boards are typically older SNESs. So you're going to use that kit for those boards. Anyway, what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and plug in my desolder pump gun, and we're going to let that thing heat up a little bit. We're going to remove all of these capacitors here, as well as this one right down here. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started on that. Okay, so now that we've got this thing zoomed in a little bit, let's go ahead and we're going to remove, let's see, we're going to remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to remove this guy over here. We're also going to remove that guy right there, okay? How we're going to remove these surface mount ones is actually with a rework station. So we're going to use some heat the solder up, remove these. A couple things, when you are removing these, just be extra cautious. You don't want to slide these into something else. So if I'm using some heat to heat up this whole board, or at least this whole section of the board, I'm probably going to be also heating up this guy here. So one thing I want to keep in mind is when I'm moving this around, ready to remove it from its base, I don't want to slide it into this and potentially move this from its seating. So we don't want to do that. So when I am heating this up, I'm going to very carefully slide it probably towards an area where there are no other solder joints. So probably up towards this area. So I'm going to heat it up and then move it up towards the top area so we don't risk actually de-seating. De-seating? Is that a word? I don't know. De-seating something else. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, so we've got all of the surface mount capacitors removed. Now all we need to do is just remove these through capacitors that actually go through the board. So we've got, let's see, 1, 2. Do we only have 2? For some reason I was thinking there was a bigger one. I guess it's just those 2. I'll look into that just a little more, but I guess there's, oh, you know what? There is a spot for a bigger one here. But my board does not have one. Oh well. Different variations of the SNES motherboard, I guess. But yeah, there's a spot for a bigger one there, and I have a bigger one, a replacement, but I guess my motherboard does not require, or my SNES does not require that, so, oh well, we'll just forget about it. We just have these 2 here. All right, cool. Let's open this package here. I'm going to just get my soldering equipment ready, and we'll jump into this. All right, so what we're going to do now is I just need to remove these 2 with the leads, the actual wire leads. So to do that, we're just going to flip it over to the other side here, get it actually within view, and that's these points right here. So I'm just going to use my little desolder tool. Sorry about this terrible camera angle. I'm not really sure how to get a better one doing this. Let me still make it to where you guys can see. All right. So one of them actually just fell right out. go ahead and just pull the other one out, or if it's going to give us issues. Alright, pull it out on one side. The other side, I'm just going to use a solder iron because I don't want to rip any solder pads off. There we go. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'm just going to clean these pads up a little bit. Use my solder iron, a little bit of solder wick. All right, sweet. We're good to go there. Could actually probably clean these contacts up on the back just a little bit. Let's go ahead and do that. Might not need it, but it's probably a good thing to do. Okay, cool. Fantastic. Okay, guys, so that's pretty much cleaned up. So what we're going to do now is just clean the spots up on the board here. So we're going to get a little IPA, spray it on these spots here. We're going to go ahead and just scrub it down with a Q-tip. Oh, yeah. Get that nice and clean. Nice and clean. Actually, it wasn't really dirty to begin with. Also, side note, these capacitors, they all look pretty good. I don't see anything leaking onto the board, so that is a good thing, a good sign. So that it's a good bet that these capacitors were all in pretty good shape. But I just wanted to change them anyway to just to be sure, because you don't always know. So you take it off, and then you see that electrolyte fluid leaking out onto your board. Okay, cool. All right, awesome. So here's what we're going to do now. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and do these through-hole capacitors. So we're going to do these two first, C19 and C18. All right, so I've got the capacitors right here. Okay, and these capacitors here, as you see on the side of it here, it's got this gray mark. It's kind of out of focus there. This gray mark with the little boxes inside it or rectangles inside it. That is the negative leg. Okay, and the longer leg here is the positive leg. Well, this particular board is labeled right here. So we have negative on this side, positive on this side, so that makes it super easy. These are, the polarity does matter on these, so you just want to make sure that you're matching the polarity with the board and the capacitor, just to make it how it should be. All right, let's go ahead and put this one in two. There we go, baby. There we go. All right, so once we get them in, we're just going to kind of bend these legs just a little bit to hold it in place until we're able to solder it. Which, wait a second, that's right now. Woohoo! Nice. All right, let's see my flush cutters here. We're gonna just go ahead and cut off the additional leg of these capacitors. We don't need that. Awesome. Got those two guys in place. We are off to a fantastic start. Okay, next thing we're gonna do here. Let's go ahead and do C16, C16, C17, and then C15 is right here. I love that order. You can just put like C15, 16, 17. No, couldn't do that, Nintendo. It's C16, 17, and 15, which is obvious. I guess the most obvious reason for doing that is because they're actually different size capacitors, which makes sense. Whatever. You and your logic. All right, so C16 is a 33 microfarad 25 volt capacitor. So we're going to use one of these guys right here. Let's see. So these are 33 microfarad, 35 volts. So one goes right there. One goes right there. Same thing with the orientation on these things, guys. So these black bars here on the side of the capacitor, that denotes the negative side. And then over here is the positive side, obviously. So if you look at the shape of this white box that goes around, you'll notice that these corners here are cut off. Okay, and these corners are not cut off. So that's the same way on these capacitors. The corners are cut off on these ends, denoting the positive side. They're not cut off on these ends, denoting the negative side. So just so we're aware of that. Okay, cool. So now that these are in place, let's just turn this forward just a little bit. Makes it just a little bit easier for me to maneuver my hand in here in this direction. Let's just move this guy aside for now. Let's make sure this guy's in place, which he's not, because my hands are shaky. Okay. So here's how I like to do this when I drop these surface mount capacitors on. I will drop a little bit of flux, a couple little drops there. And then I'm going to go ahead and tin up the tip of my iron. So we'll get some solder on there. All right. Then I'm going to take my little tweezers here and I'm just going to hold this thing in place very carefully. Hold it in place. Drop your tinned iron on top of that. Hear that sweet sizzle. All right. So we've got that part tacked down. Now what I'll do is I'll just grab my solder. And I'll just put some solder on the other leg here. All right, that looks good. Fantastic. All right, so we've got that one done. Let's go ahead and move on to C16. C16, C17 are the exact same capacitor. All right, let's repeat our process. Drop some flux on. Go ahead and tin our iron up. Use our tweezers, hold it in place. Drop our iron on one leg here. Cool. It's that easy. Let's maybe put a little more on this back side here. Actually, you know what? Got a pretty good view. That looks good. Cool. All right, so there we go, guys. C16, C17, done. Cake. That was easy. All right, so C15 is a 47 microfarad capacitor, which is this guy. Yep. Little tongs here. Little tweezers. And we will place this guy right here. Same orientation as the others. Okay. And again, same process. We're going to drop some flux on. We're going to tin our iron. Let's get all the additional solder off right now. We're going to tin our iron. We're going to grab our tweezers and we're going to hold this in place. And then we're going to tack it down. Let's just tack it down. Tack it down, tack it down. That was ridiculous. Can't believe I just did that. Okay, cool. Looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. I don't know if you guys can get a good view of that. But these are all done just like that. We have 5 capacitors installed. Super duper easy. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4 left. Yeah, I believe that's 4. Cool. So what we're going to do now, let's go ahead and move on to C17 right here. Is that on camera? Is it on camera? Kind of on camera. C17, wow. C14, I didn't learn my numbers. C14 is a 33 microfarad capacitor, so that is not our guy. Cool. Same process. Add some flux. Add some solder to a clean tip, preferably. Grab the tweezers. Hold that thing in place. Tack it down. All right, so C12, C13. C12 and C13 are actually the same capacitor. So they're both 10 microfarad running at 16 volts, little smaller ones now that we are working with. Okay, that should do it. It's going to be a bit of a tight fit right there, I can tell, between these two, but we'll make it work. Should be okay. I'm just going to tack the one side down first. That'll give us just a little bit of playroom on the other side. Grab our tweezers, hold it in place, tack it down. Nice. Okay, that looks good. That looks real good. Let's go ahead and move on to C12. 10 microfarad, 16 volts. Oh no, I dropped it. Pick my dog's hair off of it now. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, awesome. So last one we've got right down here, C9. Oh, not even on camera. Right down here, C9. Woo! I'm excited. I'm excited to play my Super Nintendo. So C9 is our last one here. Okay, we're done. We did it. Nice. All right, so we've got all the capacitors replaced there. All of the ones up here. This guy here. Sweet. All right, let's go ahead and clean it up a little bit. Put a little bit of IPA on it. And we'll take a very soft bristled brush to it. Try to get in between these here. Yeah, there we go. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, I'll tell you what, I think I'm going to test this thing before I put it all back together. So I'm going to switch over to the TV and the capture card. We'll test this, and then we'll throw it back in its case. All right, everybody. So I've got the Super Nintendo hooked back up to the TV. Just want to double check it, make sure everything works before I throw it all back together in its case. We've got Super Mario World, one of the best games in the world, loaded up. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on. Oh, here we go. Heck yeah. Cool. Just gonna play a little bit of Super Mario World here right quick. Nice. What's up, Yosh? What's up, Yosh? Oh, you know what? I did that backwards. I usually like to get the, whatever. About to go up in here and wreck some ghosts. By wreck some ghosts, I mean not actually, because I don't think you can kill them. 27, baby. All right, cool. Awesome, guys. Well, hey, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and put this thing back together so I can, well, I'm going to go play some Super Mario World. That's for sure. This thing's got me hooked. So anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in to Fix It Retro. I'm really, really happy you're here. Again, I don't pretend to know it all. I don't pretend to be an expert or anything. So if anybody has any constructive criticism or things that they notice that I did incorrectly or I could possibly do better on any of my videos, please just let me know. Please be respectful about it. Put it in the comments, and I will certainly take it into consideration. Again, thanks for watching Fix It Retro. My name is Austin. I'll talk to y'all later.